Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to this February 3rd and our monthly meditation today that we're so happy. It's going to be just a little bit longer today. It's going to be 15 minutes more from now on, which I think we all definitely can use. So again, like always, thank you so very much, Kelly, for being here with us. We're excited about tonight.
Oh, it's always my pleasure, Gloria, and everybody else. I'm always happy to be here with you all each month, and can't believe we've been doing this for as long as we have, but I'm grateful for the time and the space that we have together each month. And so this is our monthly mindfulness and meditation check-in. This is like our monthly well-being check, right? Where we check in with ourselves, we check in with each other, and we talk a little bit about our mindfulness tools and methods, tips for well-being, and then we meditate together. And so has anybody been able to get their daily M&Ms, and that's those mindful moments and the bit yoga in? Yes. So this time of year is especially difficult to do that. I'm sure you may all experience that. It's like hibernation time for me personally, where, and Mother Nature, right? Where we have shorter days, it's darker, it's colder. Our tendency is to not want to move our body as much. And so it does take an extra push to get some of this well-being or wellness practices in, but we can do it with the idea of getting, building this kind of micro self-care practice where we weave a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, whether it's a mindful moment or whether it's a quick stretch or maybe getting out for a quick walk around the block. And, again, we learn to weave the well-being and the self-care throughout our busy day, and then we make well-being a habit, bit by bit, little bit by bit. So encourage you, and in our time here, look to share with you, variety of tips and techniques that kind of align with that idea of, snippets of well-being that are easier for us to incorporate into our days. And so today I want to talk about the art of letting go. And then we're going to do a couple just very easy stretches. It's just going to be neck and shoulders to get us kind of primed up for some meditation. And then we're going to do a guided meditation via the Calm app. It's actually a YouTube meditation, but the Calm app is what puts it on. And so we'll feel hopefully pretty good by the end of this. But in terms of letting go, so, with the end of a new one year and starting in another, even though we're heading into February, those transition points are usually good times to kind of evaluate, the coming days and months and maybe things that we're holding on to that we shouldn't. And so sometimes some things are really important to hold on to, right? Like holding on to a young child's hand when we're crossing a busy street, or holding on to our morals and our ethics when we're trying to navigate a very challenging or a risky situation, or holding on to our breath when we're sitting down in meditation, or holding on to our mantra. But so many things we cling to that cause us problems, both physical and non-physical, like stress and tension that we hold on to in our body that we don't, again, consciously release, or clutter or too many material possessions, or oftentimes we can hold on to very rigid opinions or resentments or bad habits, unhealthy relationships, and so on. And so in this context, when we talk about letting go, it means releasing stress and suffering, and dropping those kind of thoughts and things and words and deeds that maybe cause us suffering and pain. And it means yielding to life rather than, fighting against things. And with a steady mindfulness practice, we find that over time, we become more open and flexible. We become like that tree that actually bends in those strong strong hurricane type winds instead of one that actually breaks. And so again, with this type of practice of mindfulness and meditation and taking care of our body and our mind, we become more resilient to life's storms. And I have seen this time and again in my own meditation and mindfulness practice that I've been really committed with for about 5 or 6 years now. So I had an example of just a week or two ago where I had, and I think you all know, my job and my career has been dealing with very risky stuff. And so it's very high risk, very little room for error or things for me to make a mistake, okay? Because if I do, then things are really bad sometimes. And so it's very stressful work. But anyway, a week or two ago, I had a higher up in my company, way up there, send me an email first thing one morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I get this email and it says, hey, the CEO said you made a mistake and you need to fix it right away. And then I need to explain to everybody what you did. I mean, that was about the nature of the email. It was that abrupt. And so imagine, I got that and my heart started to go up. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake, oh my gosh, he was so rude, all these thoughts going through my head. Now, pre-mindfulness and meditation practice, I would have clung on to that and I would have immediately, wouldn't have gotten dressed. I would have gone straight to my computer. I would have started, firing off an email because I was so upset about it. But because I had that mindfulness practice, I was able to settle myself with some deep breathing. And then I went about my morning and I continued to get ready. Sure, I thought about it, but I did not let it consume me to the point where I overreacted. So again, my mindfulness and meditation practice has allowed me to respond wisely versus react. Because had I reacted, which I would have done in the past, then that creates, as we know, a whole host of other problems, right? And so when we cling to things, whether it's thoughts or material things, at times that they can cause us problems. And there can be such a relief to let go of certain things, particularly those negative things. And so when we talk about, well, how do we actually let go? What does that look like? So the first thing we have to do is appreciate the wisdom in doing it, that it is a wise thing for us to do to let go of some of these things. Notice any resistance you might have to it. Some of us might feel that letting go is wimping out or being weak or foolish, or some of us may have learned, myself included, that being strong means fighting back and holding on stubbornly to things, right? But the fact is, it takes strength to let go of things. There's a quote from somebody named Eckhart Tolle who says, sometimes letting go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. And so when we think about letting go, we do letting go all day long, naturally. Like we release things, we pick up things and we let it go with our hands, right? Or we hang up a phone, or we hit send on an email and send something off, or we move from one thought to the other and kind of let those things go, or we say goodbye to somebody, change the channel, or we empty the trash can. So letting go is something we do kind of all day long, and we can notice that it's all right to do that, and that when we do let go of something, we keep going, right? And that it's a necessary and beneficial thing for us to do. And so the idea is that we should become more comfortable with letting go. And so when we find ourselves feeling heavy and needing to release some so-called weight, right? We can cultivate the art of letting go by trying a few things. So there's a couple of tips or practices that I have for us. So the first thing is that we can consciously let go of tension and stress that we may be holding in our body. So that involves when we have our focused intention on an area like our jaw or our eyes or shoulders, belly or back, or common places where you might be holding stress and tension. So let's just do that right now. Why don't you go ahead and close your eyes? And I want you to bring your attention to your jaw. And then I want you to take an inhale. And as you do that, I want you to grit your teeth, grit your jaw really tight. And then on your exhale, let it go. We can do that again. Inhale, tighten up your jaw. And then let it go. And let's do that one more time on our own. And let it go. So again, we can do that for other areas of our body. Again, consciously bring your attention to your shoulders or your arms or your fists and tighten those up really tight and then let it go. And you really kind of feel that release of the stress and the tension leaving your body. Another practice we can do is actually physically clear out possessions that we don't need. How good does it feel to actually make more space in a drawer or your closet and to release that kind of clutter that we bring up or hold on to? And so I'd encourage you to maybe start small, right? My whole thing is start small. If we try to eat the elephant in the room, right, we're never going to get done. And so take off little bites of things. So when it comes to decluttering, perhaps maybe take one drawer or one particular section of a room and go through each and everything and say, do I love it? Do I need it? And if the answer is no, let it go. Give it away to somebody else, maybe perhaps that will use it, or donate it. So again, start small. See how good it feels to have a little bit more room in that bit of space, and then move on to bigger tasks. And then you can accelerate that space making and that feeling of good, kind of release of some of that. Another more challenging practice, and this one I've been working on myself, I think we all have these, is to pick a grievance or a grudge or a resentment and resolve to move on from it. Now, this doesn't mean that we're letting the other person off the hook, right? It means that we're letting ourselves off the hook from staying upset about whatever happened. There's a quote that says something about, resentment is like, holding on to resentment or a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from it, right? Because that's what those kind of negative feelings do to us, is they just are so toxic. So letting go of those types of things. And if feelings of hurt still come up, and they will, be aware of them, be kind to yourself for having them, and then gently show them the door. So I was telling another colleague that I had to do this probably 4 times within a matter of just, a couple hours the other day, where I was really struggling with this grudge or this resentment, having these kind of feelings. And again, kind of consciously acknowledging and letting it go. Acknowledge, let it go, and you'll find that it gets easier over time. There's another quote that says, all the art of living lies in a fine mingling of letting go and holding on, right? So this dance of what is important for me to hold on to and what is necessary for me to let go of. So again, important things to do. So I'm just looking at comments and seeing Sherry say, can we have a burning ceremony? Yes. And forgiveness. Yes. So things like that, tangible letting go, Sherry. I just did it the other day where, I was having these negative kind of thoughts. I had an interaction, these negative thoughts, and I scribbled them, scribbled them in a journal, and, just to get them out. And then I took that piece of paper and I crumpled it up and I threw it away. Other times, Sherry, I have gone out to my chimney and I have burned my journal just to have that ceremonial release of just sending away those negative kind of thoughts, to release them. So that is another wonderful tip that you can use too, is if your thoughts are really what you're struggling with and that's what you need to let go of, a fantastic way to do it is to journal and then destroy, if you feel like it, those particular pages. So again, the idea is getting comfortable with letting go. So we are going to then, well, I'll stop there, I guess, and see if anybody had any other comments. It looks like there's a few that came in about that. Let's see, I love doing it. Even Sherry says, in my kitchen sink when we are so dry here in Colorado, do not want to start a fire. Yes, I've had the same thought. But again, you can do those type of things. So again, we're going to do a guided meditation, but I did want us to just maybe do a couple stretches. I know I could use them for my neck and my shoulders. If you all are like me, carry a lot of stress and tension there. So again, just a couple quick, easy things that we can do that we find, again, some good relief from. So if you're sitting, standing, doesn't matter. Let's just check in with our postures. So again, part of the bit yoga, this kind of micro self-care is throughout the day to check in with how we're holding and we're carrying our body. So oftentimes I might find myself slunched over like this, and my belly's kind of protruding and I'm hunched over. And so one of the first things we can do is just align our shoulders and our back. And so to do that, it's just a simple inhale. Bring your ears or shoulders up to your ears. As you exhale, roll your shoulders down and back. And feel those shoulder blades drop. It's as if your shoulder blades on the back are being pulled. And just kind of let your shoulders fall there. Yeah, and then if you are sitting or standing, I think you can do this too when you're sitting, is notice what your pelvic bone is doing. Sometimes I'm hyperextended and my butt is sticking out. And so other times we might be, the opposite way. And so try to bring your pelvis just in line with your spine. Sometimes the way I do it is just envision that I've got a string in my belly button and it's kind of pulling to the wall that I'm facing in that way, just to give it a tuck under. Okay, so the next things we're going to do is we are going to do some shoulder rolls. So Sheila's done this with us, and it's just simply rolling our shoulders forward, with the idea that we're going to take those kind of slow, conscious movements. Get some of that stress out. All right, let's reverse and go the other way. I hear some crunching in my shoulders. I don't know about you. That's the knots that are there. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some head and some neck movements. And so the idea is we're going to align our breathing with those movements. And so the first one we'll do is we're going to take an inhale and we're going to take our head to the right. And then exhale back to center. Inhale to the left. And then exhale back to center. Let's do that 2 more times at our own pace. Okay, when you get back to center, just notice how you feel. All right, now we're going to inhale our chin to our chest. So take an inhale and bring your chin down to your chest. And then exhale, take it all the way back. See if you can drop your head back. Inhale back, chin to chest. Exhale all the way back. And one more time on your own. And then back to center. Okay, we're going to loosen up again. So take your right hand and put it on your head. We're going to inhale and we're going to gently pull our, right ear to our right shoulder. Exhaling. Inhale back up. Switch hands. Exhale down, left ear to left shoulder. Be gentle. Don't, again, hurt yourself. Inhale back up, and let's do that 2 more times at our own pace. Okay, inhale back to center. When you're ready. Okay, now let's finish it off with a couple neck rolls. So we're gonna again try to inhale or align it with our breath. So let's go ahead and inhale our chin to chest. And then on your exhale, go ahead and rotate one way or the other, up and back. And then when you get to the back, inhale. Exhale. Again, the idea to try to control and slow your movements down so you get the added benefit. And aligning it with our breath does that. It forces us to slow down. Do a couple more on your own at your own pace. And then reverse. Do maybe 3 more times on the other side. Really feel it. Feel that tension in my neck, my poor neck. Okay. And then when you're ready, back to center. See how you feel. Maybe a little loosening up there. I know I feel a little better there. Okay, good. It's got Kalindi feeling good too. Okay. Well, let's get some meditation on if you all are ready. So let's go ahead and you can close your video if you'd like. Go ahead and mute your microphone. Maybe drown out some background noise. Make yourself comfortable. Again, get yourself in a comfortable position, whatever that is for you. So one of the only rules of meditation is to be comfortable. And we are going to do this 10-minute mindfulness meditation on letting go.
Welcome to the Daily Calm. Let's begin by finding a comfortable position in a posture that feels relaxed yet alert. Close your eyes, soften your forehead, and let there be a soft smile in the corners of your lips. Now take a few long, deep breaths to relax the mind and body. Take a slow, deep belly breath. Hold it for a moment. And then gently release that breath. And just repeat that pattern a couple of times, taking slow, deep breaths. And allowing any tension you're holding to melt away. Now naturally allow your breathing to become light and easy. Allowing the rise and fall of the breath to happen in its own time, at its own pace. And just following the breath as it flows through you. Following it in, following it out, breath by breath, moment by moment. You might notice thoughts arising as you sit. Thoughts about the past, thoughts about the future, thoughts about something you should have said or done, thoughts about what's for lunch. Don't make an effort to look for thoughts, but when they arise, simply notice them. In particular, notice if they have a charge. Pay attention to whether they trigger emotion of any kind. What we want to do is refrain from getting sucked into the content of our thoughts and emotions. Ideally, we want to view thoughts like water trickling down a stream, letting thoughts come, letting thoughts go, letting emotion come, letting emotion go, not getting caught up in them. Simply observing that thoughts are happening without taking them so seriously. Allow everything to come and go like the breath. Breath after breath after breath. Now rest your attention, taking a few deep breaths, noticing how it feels to pay attention to thoughts without clinging to them, without taking them personally. And since we're on the theme of relationships this week, see if you can practice not taking things personally in regards to your relationships with others. When we have to deal with difficult people, we sometimes feel attacked. Often other people's behavior isn't about you, it's about them. If we choose to take situations personally, we become offended and reactive because we feel the need to defend our beliefs, and conflict intensifies. But if we refuse to take things personally, we can often de-escalate our emotional response and any potential conflict. Through the day, as an experiment, try practicing not taking things personally whenever you can. And perhaps now, make an intention to seal that effort. And as we approach the end of the session, just relax your attention. Come back to the room. Come into your body. Feel it alive. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed today's Daily Calm. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Okay, so beautiful. Meditation on letting go. It doesn't take too long for us to find that calm and relaxation. So that meditation is this beautiful practice where we have an element of holding on to the breath, holding on to whatever our anchor is. Sometimes we use a mantra. Other times, again, we use our breath, but letting go of the thoughts that it continually comes through in any meditation that we do, right? Not clinging on to those thoughts. I look at meditation at times as like a mental decluttering for myself, because I give myself permission not to hold on to those thoughts. That's the time I don't have to hold on to them. They can come up and I can let them go. Knowing that the good thoughts, because sometimes we get good thoughts and we think, oh, I got to remember that, right? And then we start to, think about it over and over and over again. But just know that those good thoughts, the really good ones, are going to come back. They will resurface. So I hope you enjoyed those tips and inspiration on letting go and the meditation. And I'll stop there and see if y'all have any questions or comments. It looks like some comments are coming in. Felt so good. Thank you so much. Get more energy. Yes, that's right. Meditation is amazing in that way. It can actually energize us at times. And that's why they say you typically, unless you're doing a sleep meditation, sometimes if you meditate too close to bedtime, you might find difficulty sleeping because you got that burst of energy. So it does do that. Thank you. Just what I needed, Ola. Yes. And Vicky, that was terrific. Oh, I'm so glad you feel so much better. Wonderful. Oh, and then Sherry says, I loved hanging out at the beach and chose to watch the water and sun after I peeked to see what the sound was. It was lovely. I love the beach sound too. That is such a soothing sound to hear those waves come in. And Diane saying she feels so much better as well. I do too. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any
Yes,
other
and
questions?
ladies, do you have any questions or anything you would like to say? No, for most of you all know that I'm quite the shopper. But one of the things that I do that I'm very proud of myself is I do get rid of a lot of my things. And I try, anytime I have a little moment, I go through and I see, okay, what no longer belongs here, what can go and serve someone else, or maybe it's in bad shape and it needs just to go away. But one of the people that really inspires me is Marie Kondo. I don't know if you've all seen Marie
Sounds
Kondo.
familiar, Gloria. Say more.
So she has 2 different Netflix specials. And she has been everywhere. She's been on a lot of shows. Everyone has really loved her. And about 3 years ago, when she came out with her first Netflix special, we were bombarded with things here at Dress for Success. We were swimming in it because everyone was so inspired by her. And her second Netflix special really goes into detail about what letting go, what it does to the energy of you and how you carry yourself and what you think of yourself, and even can help bond people together again, families that didn't have a space to hang out because there was so much clutter, right? That all of a sudden you have a space and it looks nice and people feel good and they want to stay there.
That's wonderful. And it looks like Sherry put the book title, The Magic Art of Tidying Up, I think is
in her book.
Yes, that's how wonderful. And you hit it, I think, Gloria, the energy changes when we create that space, right? Oftentimes, and I think we might have touched on this in another session, but when we have a lot of stuff in our space and we have a lot of clutter, it can make some of us very anxious. And myself, I get anxiety if there's too much clutter. And then we also don't know what we have, because we can't find something. And so there's the anxiety with that. But I like your shopping rule. So I have a rule when I go out and shop. First of all, before I buy something, I ask myself those questions. Do I love it? If it's just I think it's kind of nice, I don't buy it. I have to love it or I have to need it. And then when I bring it home, I know that when I bring that sweater home, I'm getting rid of something else out of my closet. So it's a one in, one out. That's the deal. So it really forces me to be conscious about my purchases, because I had a bad habit of just doing, buying stuff too quick. I'll just buy that and then end up not really needing it or using it. So those are great tips. And I like that. I wrote down Maria's name and the title of that book. I'm going to catch it myself.
Yes. Sherry, did you have something?
Yeah, that book was recommended after I sold my house years ago by a friend who said, "How much did you pack?" And I said, "A couple dozen boxes." He said, "Unpack them, get the book, read it cover to cover. Don't do it yet. Read it cover to cover. It'll only take you a couple hours, and then do the book." Because she has this whole systematic way of what you do in what order.
Oh, interesting.
And you start with clothing. And you have to bring every ounce of clothing into one space. And if you forget it, you have to get rid of what you find later.
Oh my gosh.
So, and the last things are the hard things, which is the paper and the photos and so by that time you're ready to release. For me, the hardest one was books.
Was it?
Still is. I downsized from 11 bookcases. I was allowed to keep 3, but I cheated. I double and triple stacked them.
Well, at least you got rid of some though, yeah?
I got rid of a lot.
Yeah, so we got to give ourselves credit for what we do and not say, "Oh, I didn't do enough." That's great. So how did you feel after that though, Sherry? How did you?
I can't even tell you how much I got rid of and still how much I kept. I'm in the process. I'm going to be moving again at the end of July. And I know I have to soon. I will be going through that whole process again. And I will start it in order. I lent my book to somebody. I have no idea who has it. So I have to go buy another one.
Or watch the Netflix series.
Well, the Netflix series, she only does, she does it differently. It's a part, but the book takes you from beginning through the whole thing.
Yeah. I know that for me, that it was the pictures, right? The mementos, and I have, kids, and what I did is I took pictures of like art things that I was holding on to that I'm never going to display them, right? I'm never going to. So I took pictures of them, and then that went out. And then the pictures, just, tons and tons. I think I filled like my trash can halfway, through with pictures that I had.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, we had pictures that were,
I have
actually
boxes.
paper, right?
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say,
have boxes.
I have file
Photo albums.
cabinets too. Both of my parents are deceased, and I accumulated all of the pictures. So I haven't gotten that far. So I think this book is going to inspire me, and that Netflix series is going to inspire me. But that's another whole element, right? Digital clutter, right? We have so many more pictures now in like the digital space. So we could even apply, again, letting go to our camera roll, right? And just freeing up, deleting, 10 of those duplicate pictures, right? So, but I think the idea is that once we do some of that, how did you feel, right, Gloria? I mean, how do you feel when you go through?
I felt so good.
Yes.
I felt really, really good. And one thing that she talks about is that when we have that many pictures and we're holding on, it's almost like we're not in the present moment. There's this melancholy that feels us over days that, gone by, and then we tend to romanticize some things that at the time weren't that great, but because they're gone, right? We think, oh, and it's like, no, don't waste your life looking at the past. So I felt really great. I was ready. It took me a long time to get there, though.
I believe it. Well, I still, like I said, I've got file cabinets and file cabinets full of stuff, and because I think because again, my parents are deceased, I'm holding on to a little bit more there, but I will say that it gives me anxiety to know that that's all out there and it's not organized, and I have yet to do that, right? So again, I think this is a wonderful recommendation on Maria Kondo. I know I'm going to use it. And
yeah, it's Marie.
Oh, Marie
Kondo.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
We have.
Well, I think that is our time. I want to honor everyone's time. I want to thank you all for joining us. And Kelly, thank you so very much. We're so excited that we get to have you for a little extra time every month. And the stretching help. There was a lot of snap, crackle, and pop that was going on over here in the neck.
Me too.
So that was very helpful. Thank you so much. Ladies, we go forth with confidence, courage, and belief in ourselves. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.